Kimberly Smith Austin is a super speaker. She's been involved with, that part of her email used to be fit to be fit or something. And I'm thinking, if I usually get up early, but if I happen to sleep until 8 o'clock, it always crosses my mind. I wonder how many miles Kimberly has already exercised and run and all these things she's probably already accomplished when I'm up at 8 o'clock in the morning. So maybe I'm misread her personality and lifestyle, but I doubt it. Emily, our next speaker on the let me see if I get this correct, Courage to Shine, Kimberly Smith Austin. Let's hear it for Kimberly.
Woo woo! Good evening, good evening. Let me say this, I'm off camera for just a bit. My son just finished the CIF volleyball game and it was an uproar. So what an exciting time to be able to come here and share with you a little bit about the Courage to Shine tour. Just on this past Saturday, we had 15 speakers, four powerful keynote speakers who brought a message to women of all ages and all stages of their lives, equipping, educating, inspiring, but most of all, empowering them in their wellness. So today we have four wonderful speakers who'll be sharing just a little bit about what they've talked about on Saturday, giving you a little highlight or an abbreviated version. Tonight, we're going to kick off this series with Cindy Williams and Elena McMurtry, and her talk is called Am I Good Enough? Elena McMurtry, Am I Good Enough?
Thank you, Kimberly. I appreciate that. May I share my screen? I do have a PowerPoint. Is that all right? Okay. Let's see if it will allow me to. Let me know if you can see it. Awesome. Can you see it?
We're good, Elena.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to go first. Oh, did you see? Sorry. It was fireworks behind me, and I have a display behind me, so you could just saw it. At any rate, thank you for allowing me to go first. I live in the Chicagoland area. I just got back super early this morning, and I'm so excited to be here with you. I'm a bit unnerved, to be honest, because you're a professional evaluator. So hopefully you can take off your evaluation hat just for a few moments and get some of these nuggets, and hopefully they'll be beneficial to you. When I think about, am I good enough? I think about imposter syndrome. Has anybody ever experienced imposter syndrome besides me out there? I hope I'm not the only one. Well, statistics say that 75% of women deal with imposter syndrome and 63% of men. So my guess is that I'm not the only one. So what I want to do today is I'm going to give you a brief overview of what we did on Saturday. I'm really excited about it. And the way that I intend to do that is to talk to you about my journey to figuring out whether or not I am good enough. So that said, and then give you an idea of what you might be able to do to stay in the space of feeling good enough about yourself. That said, let me go ahead and move on. Again, Elena McMurtry, I want to introduce myself to you. I am a corporate trainer and newly turned speaker. I've been a corporate trainer for 30 years. The light bulb moments are what lights me up and gives me great joy. I want to start off by telling you about the first experiences that I earned my glasses, which you'll learn about in just a moment. This is 4-year-old Elena. My parents had me when they were freshmen in college, and I have students that are in college now, and I can't imagine them being parents. So I imagine that was tough for them. My mom came home. We lived in Michigan and got a job. My dad stayed at school. My maternal grandparents raised me. It was so cool. I didn't know we were broke. Who knew? I had everything that I needed. I don't know if anybody can relate to that. My paternal grandparents also lived in the same town, but they were the rich ones. And I enjoyed going over there. My dad has a younger sister that's only 2 years older than me. Her name is Lori, and she was my very first best friend. So one Christmas, I went to spend Christmas Eve with Lori, and we were preparing for Santa Claus. really excited. You know how children are about not being able to sleep when it's time to go to bed. Santa Claus is coming, so excited, right? That was us. But we finally got to sleep, and when we woke up, there were toys everywhere. This was the kind of display where all the toys were assembled and they were sort of set out. So I just walked out into a sea of amazing toys. I was so excited. Santa came, he delivered. There was a Barbie townhome. Maybe some of you guys remember that. There was one of those Barbie van thingies. I don't know what you call that. So I went over to those. They were the big shiny ones, and I was so excited about it. Well, I soon learned that those toys, probably 98% of the toys were for Lori. Now, her parents, I was at her parents' house, right? But as a 4-year-old, all I knew was that Santa Claus didn't bring me what I wanted. What I wanted were those big toys. So what I did was I earned myself a pair of what I now refer to as not good enough glasses because I didn't feel good enough. Lori got the dream house. She got the Barbie bus thingy. I got a baby alive doll, and it was black. Don't judge me, but I didn't want no black doll at the time. I don't know. It's blame it on the media. I'm good now. I love myself. I'm fine. Don't worry. But this is what I got. Oh, there it is. Not happy. And just proof that I was not trying to fool with any black dolls. Here's me and my favorite. This is Donna on the left, and I don't remember my white baby alive doll on the right. So the next thing, that was when I earned my not good enough glasses. I want to tell you a little bit about Ray, who was my cousin. She was about 4 years older than me. And we used to go to, when I was about 6 years old, we used to spend the summers at our aunt and uncle's house in Gary, Indiana. And you couldn't tell me, I was from Benton Harbor, Michigan, so Gary, Indiana was the big city, and I couldn't wait, right, to go. And there were 3 bedrooms, one was an office, and she and I shared the back bedroom. And I went to their house every year until I was in my teenage years, right? But what they didn't know was at nights when we were alone, right? She was 4 years older than me, did things that were inappropriate to me. That's where I earned my shame glasses. Now, the reason I'm sharing this about the glasses is because when you put glasses on and they have colors, you start to see things through the perspective of the glasses. So when I talk to you about my not good enough glasses, I put those on. I saw the world through me not being good enough or not feeling good enough. Well, now I have some shame glasses, so I get to walk around with that as well. I lived in Benton Harbor, Michigan, as mentioned, and that was an all-black town. I moved when I was 10 years old to Owensboro, Kentucky, which was, say it with me, all white. Which is not an issue, really. You know, the cultural differences, and I had questions about my hair and can I touch it and whether or not I tanned when the sun came out and those kinds of things. Understandably, you know, I understand that now that people were just curious. But as a little 10-year-old girl, I felt there was shame there because I was the only one. And guess what else? I had my not good enough glasses. I have a couple, and I was getting hard to even see. Not sure if you guys are relating. I hope so, because I can't see you. So those are just a couple things. My father passed last year, and we had a great relationship once I got older. But when I was about 13, mind you, he was what, 18 years old when I was born. So he's still growing up as well. I remember him taking me to a work event with him. It was a cookout. All the kids were playing, and I yelled, "Daddy, Daddy!" And he came up to me looking kind of like, you know, he's like, "Hey, don't call me Daddy here." Wait, what? Don't call you Daddy? So Needless to say, right? My shame glasses, my not good enough glasses. Why am I not good enough that my dad, I can't even call him daddy? Now, of course, since then I've learned, he went through what he went through. He had to do what he had to do in order to be okay. And we talked about that, and it's fine. So as you're seeing, as I'm growing, I am earning more and more glasses and seeing things from the perspective of not good enough, of shame. And then in graduate school, mind you, there's plenty of examples, but I'm being fast. I was an admission counselor for Murray State University is where I went for graduate school. And my territory was Southern Illinois. And I went to this very small town, think Mayberry. And I was there early for my high school visit. I went to a diner, like a storefront diner. And I walked in and everybody turned and looked at me. Well, I was living in Kentucky at the time, and I was used to being the only, so that wasn't a big deal. So I ordered my food, which I hope they didn't spit in, because a very old man, he was probably close to 90, if not, came over and handed me a napkin. And on that napkin, he asked me if I would cook and clean for him. I'm in graduate school and I'm pretty cute. Like, I don't think, is this giving maid vibes? I don't know. Man, who knows? I don't know. But he asked me to clean his house for him. That's what he saw when he looked at me. And I earned what I'm going to call here black stuff glasses. I probably earned these before that event, but I just want to introduce that to you. And that's the thing. So now I have several pairs of glasses, and honestly, the glasses are still not far. I have to do things now to ensure that I don't keep the glasses on. And so I want to introduce chapter 2, Quiet on the Set, right? I read these 2 books that were very integral in me changing my mindset. And hopefully you guys are with me with imposter syndrome. And there's 2 things that I want to share with you before I finish. And the first is I went to a landmark education. Anybody ever heard of Landmark? Have you ever gone to the forum? It's amazing if you ever hear of it. One of the things the forum leader said to us was, just when I'm in person, I have people actually do this. I'll say chocolate or vanilla, choose, right? And then we'll have people raise their hand and somebody will say, well, I said, okay, what is it? And they said, chocolate. I'm like, great. Why? Oh, because it's delicious. Thank you, but no, right? And then somebody else said vanilla. Why? Because I'm allergic to chocolate. That's fantastic, but no. And we went on and on like that for a while until someone raised their hand and she said, yes, what is it? And they said vanilla. And she said, why do you choose vanilla? And the answer was, because I choose vanilla. She said, absolutely. And I'll talk to you a bit more about that in a moment, but I had a hip hop revelation. Now, during this time, face to face, there's music playing and I'm doing a hip hop dance, demonstrating what I was doing at the time. And it's can't really chair dance, but you can imagine. My son, my 16-year-old son, my oldest, I have 4 sons. My oldest came with me, probably begrudgingly, but whatever. He was standing behind me on my right side. And so I'm doing the thing, right? Getting serious about it. He leans up, he goes, Mom, I'm like, yes, what is it? What is it? He was like, oh, so I'm, trying to ignore him. Mom, yes, son, what is it? He goes, I'm embarrassed. I said, Dylan, why are you embarrassed? He says, I'm embarrassed because I feel like people are watching me. At that moment, my reply to him was, son, they're not watching you. They're afraid you're watching them. Wow. So that makes me wonder if we're all concerned about the same things. If I'm concerned about you looking at me, you concerned about me looking at you, everyone is dealing with this, where the majority, right, of people are dealing with imposter syndrome. What can we do about that? Well, we get to choose, right? We get to choose for the sake of choosing. So what I'm telling you is that you are not alone in this, and we get to choose to be good enough. Chocolate or vanilla, choose. It's simply a choice. It's not easy, but it's simple. Okay. So I want to tell you one last thing, and I'll go ahead and pass it along. We all have belief systems, and the belief systems consist of things that we think, which lead to things that we say, right? And we all know that words are very powerful. The power of the tongue, right? Life and death. We hear that thoughts become things, so many different areas. It's a spiritual law. The beliefs that we have and the experiences, which I call actions. So thoughts or words, beliefs, and then the experiences that we may call actions. So if we have these beliefs and they're limiting, right? Like when I wear my glasses and I see myself and I believe that I'm not good enough, that affects the thoughts that I have, which affects the words that I have, which creates the experiences that I have, which validate the belief that I'm not good enough. So of those three things, think about which one you think would be the easiest to change. Which one do you think? Well, I will offer that the easiest to change might be thoughts, because we can catch our thoughts before they become words and come out of our mouth. Yes? So if we change the words that we say, if we say more empowering things, contrary to I'm not good enough, I am strong, I am powerful, right? If we say them enough times, then our experiences might reflect that we are powerful and amazing and good enough, which then make our beliefs different, which it's a cycle, right? So once that one thing, you have new beliefs and new thoughts and new experiences. And that is how we get out of those limiting beliefs and install new empowering beliefs. So this is not all my presentation, but I'm going to stop here. And I just want to share with you, that these were my experiences. I know we all have our own experiences growing up and maybe earning your own glasses, but I want to encourage you and empower you to know that you can change them. And that's all. I'm finished. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing, Elena. I am good enough, or am I good enough? That's the question you get to decide. Followed by Elena's amazing speech, I'd like to bring forth Cindy Williams, which is a perfect next with her title, Change the Script. Cindy Williams with Change the Script.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kimberly. I am going to be sharing my screen in a moment, and I think I have been enabled to do that. But I am so grateful to be you here today. You know, it was on my birthday a year ago that I received a diagnosis via email. You have mono, it said. I was 55 years old and I found out I got the kissing disease. So my family, they had a whole lot of fun with that. But then a few weeks later, I started developing some new symptoms. In fact, it felt like my skin, somebody had lit a match to it. It was burning. And then about a month from there, my hair started to fall out. And somehow midlife was starting to get very real fast. Come November, I recruited my daughter when we were visiting in Dallas to take me wig shopping because I had lost my hair. And as we were there and I bought my three girls and we boxed them up and I brought them home, we had Boardroom Barb, Sassy Susan, and Trashy Trish. My husband wanted the long blonde. And I was starting to get used to wearing them, but I felt like I was living a lie. I felt like I was hiding this secret behind them. You see, I coach women entering midlife on how to take the lead in their life to find a new purpose and to really create an amazing second half that I was hiding. And I was getting ready to kind of reveal that to my coaching group when my husband came home and he said, Cindy, I have some place for us to go Saturday night. We've been invited to the sheriff's charity dinner. And I thought, oh, well, that would be fun. But I was starting to get used to all this on my head and I was a little bit nervous, but we went and we got there and we were eating dinner with friends, having a lot of fun. I even bought some earrings for the cause. And then the band started playing. And my husband loves to dance and he started doing this. And I want to tell you that he was the only one on the dance floor. That's important to know. As I went out there and I took his arm, he started to give me a twirl as he always does. And as he was twirling me, his arm caught my hair. And my hair went that way. And I went that way. And as I stood on the dance floor alone with my husband, I felt exposed. I felt humiliated. Have you ever yourself felt that sting of humiliation, of shame, of regret? It's a horrible feeling. I would like to say that the 7 years of personal growth that I've been working on had made me strong enough where I just plopped down and took that and put it on my head and just started dancing again. That's the kind of woman I am. I'm strong, right? But I ran to the bathroom and then to the door and then to the car. And I had my husband drive me home. And on the way home, I was crying. And then I would laugh hysterically because it really was pretty funny if you thought about it. And I probably will think it's funny in about a decade. But at the time I didn't. On the freeway, Todd said, Cindy, I want to tell you something and you're not going to like it. But this could be your greatest moment. I thought, how? I just left my hair on the dance floor. I said, no. Who are you? If you're not okay with who you are, with the wig, without the wig, with hair, without the hair, if you don't know who you are, then all this work that you are doing with your ladies is for naught. Who are you? And I had to wrestle with that for a couple days. I'm going to share something with you, what I discovered. If I can get it to pop up. There we go. Who are you? You know, when I looked in the mirror, I was no longer myself. I didn't see myself in there anymore, and I wasn't expecting that. It came on so sudden. And there was this word that kept hitting home with me. It was a small word, but it's keeping me small and stuck. In fact, I'm sure all of you know that words have power, right? They have power to inspire us, to breathe life. We're all speakers, right? We can breathe life into a crowd to inspire, but we can also sit across from the table with somebody who sucks the lifeblood out of us, and that's expire. But this word was different. How many of you have a fun word that you use in January, like mark it as a theme? Anyone want to put it in the chat? Do you have a fun word that you say? Anyone? This year, my word was lead. Last year, it was grow. I don't recommend that to anyone. That was a hard year. Do I have anybody? Let's see. Oh, gratitude. I love that. I love that. That's a good one. Well, my word was a 4-letter word. Yeah, and I don't normally say 4-letter words. I really don't. I try to stay away from them. But like I said, this word kept me stuck. And the thing about words, like I said, they have power, but we also take them on ourselves. And those are words that we say in the secret spots in our mind. You're not enough. I think Elena covered this, right? You don't deserve to be there. Why are you at the sheriff's charity dinner? Why are you sharing the message? Don't they know who you are? Don't they know where you came from? And they whisper to us and we start to believe it. And if we believe it, then everybody else around us starts to treat us how we are treating ourselves because we train people how to treat us. That's the truth. You want to know what my word is? My word is just. I told you it's 4 letters, right? And it's small. Just fill in the blank. I'm just a mom. I'm just a wife. I'm just a volunteer at that nonprofit over there. I'm just a server at your favorite restaurant, your Instacart driver, just your caregiver. I'm just. There's another way that just gets us down. It's with our habits. I'll just have one more drink. And then tomorrow I'll work on getting sober. Says a woman whose family is decimated by her drinking problem. And tomorrow turns into next month, which turns into next year, which turns into 3 years down the road. And she is in a hot mess of trouble because of what she could have stopped 3 years ago if it weren't for just holding her down. Or how about just in case? I'll hold on to his phone number just in case he calls me again. Just in case he decides he really does need me, that he really does love me, says a woman who's trapped in a toxic relationship and her friends and her family are telling her to end it, but she won't, just in case. I want to tell you all, ladies, men, that you are not just anything. That you were created by God to do something amazing with your life. And it doesn't stop till you get to the finish line. And we don't get to the finish line till there's no more breath left in our body. And if you are here right now, sitting in the seat, whether you're on Zoom or you're there in person, the chances of you sitting in that seat with your hair, with your eyes, look at your hands, look at your fingerprints, uniquely made, talents, gifts that have been placed all inside of you combined, the chances of that occurring are 1 in 400 trillion. That's with a T. You are not just anyone. I want you to imagine with me for a minute. How many of you were back in the 60s? I was back in the 60s. I was a baby, but I was there. And we are standing on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial with 250,000 of our closest friends. And we are listening to a speech by none other than the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's a pre-written, pre-prescribed, he probably rehearsed it, I'm imagining maybe 100 times, I don't know. But he's 3/4 of the way through his speech. And a woman from the crowd calls out, "Tell them about the dream, Martin." Her name was Mahala Jackson. And do you know that at that moment, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., he did something courageous. He deviated from the text. He changed the plan. He went rogue. And from that point, he delivered one of the most famous speeches of the 20th century, if not all time in American history. In fact, when I hear the words, "I have a dream," 60 years later, it gives me goosebumps. Does it give you goosebumps? Makes me imagine, what if he yelled back to Mahala Jackson, "It's just a dream. It was just a thought I was thinking." And he went on, as pre-prescribed, as was already planned. Everybody knew what he was going to say, but he didn't do that. And he changed the course of history, and he inspired a nation to hope and dream again. So I have a question for you. Right here, I have 3 things about Martin Luther that gave him the courage to change the script. He knew his dream. Do you know your dream? He'd probably been dreaming it his entire life. He had it so rehearsed in his mind. He knew where he was and he knew where he wanted to go. He knew his dream. Are you that in touch with your dream? Are you? Next thing. Oops, wrong direction. He knew his dream and he gathered his people because you know what? Dreaming is free. We can all dream. But the journey is not. And so he knew he had to gather an inner circle to support him and encourage him. And that inner circle was Mahala Jackson. And then he did something else. He gave his dream a voice. He didn't just dream it. He didn't just gather an inner circle. He gave it a voice. And when we do that, our dream takes on wings. And all of a sudden, the doors of opportunity start to open. Have you done that with your dream? Have you given it a voice? Are you ready to change a script in your life like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was? Do you have the courage to do it? That takes me to me. I decided over those couple days that I was going to change my script from shame to shine. It was my tendency the first 50 years of my life to go from shame to shame. It was. This incident, the big wig reveal, would have sent me packing and just put the covers over my head. I don't want to go back out again. But the thing is, I have a dream, and I have gathered people, and I have given voice to my dream. And that is that I want to raise up 1,000 women leaders to go out and make an impact on this world. And I have enough people around me that they would not let me quit. They would not let me give shame to shame. So the answer to the question is not who are you, but who are they? And I want you to ask the same question to yourself. You're all speakers, whether it's one-on-one, to a group, or to an audience. Who are they? The people that you are serving. How can you deliver the message to them? It was never about me. Those people want me to be real and authentic and vulnerable with them. They want to trust me. And I want to share with them because of this. This is one of my favorite quotes by John Maxwell. A candle loses nothing when it lights another. We're all candles. We all have this flickering flame. And when we are vulnerable and we share our shame, we share our embarrassment, our real moments, and become human, it costs us nothing. But it allows us to transfer that light, to transfer that shine to another and give them the courage to go out and shine. When we change the script on our life, when we create a page turner life and write the next chapter, that's exactly what we do. Oops, I'm going to stop the share.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Cindy, for that awesome speech. Change the script. So my friends, this morning or this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you're calling in from, or sitting, I will tell you, you just heard a word about being enough. Now the opportunity to change the script. I think it's time we look at your brilliance. I'd like to bring forth Misty Kerrigan with her talk, Unveil Your Brilliance. Misty Kerrigan, Unveil Your Brilliance.
How's the PowerPoint looking okay, guys? All right.
Yes.
Kimberly, fellow and a great esteemed qualified speakers, we're very honored to be here tonight, and I just want to say thank you. Tonight, I want to jump on this bandwagon of the imposter syndrome and the change of the script. Elena and Cindy, you guys are amazing. I was not crying a little bit over here or getting excited about having a dream. So I want to jump into something amazing. How many of you guys know that we were designed for accomplishment, engineered for success, and endowed with seeds of greatness, not seeds of averageness or mediocre, right? We have seeds of greatness in us. How many of you guys know that? Well, this is an easy crowd to convince because it's a Wednesday night and you spend 3 hours a week every Wednesday getting better in what you do and hitting your passions, I bet. But sadly, some people let things dormant, that greatness. They hide their seeds, you know, whether it's time, life, money, focus. Lately, you know, like over the last few years, 2020, we put these things in front of our greatness and we start to pack them down and pack them down. And pretty soon, some of us don't remember that we have seeds of greatness and we kind of just start doing life. I don't know if anyone else, I know I can admit I sometimes get caught up in that, where life is just life. And someone told me that the other day. I thought it was brilliant. Life is just life. And so what happens when we pack out our seeds and we go dormant? Well, unfortunately, I think Les Brown really nailed it when he said there's no more richer place on earth than the graveyard. Songs that haven't been written, cures that haven't been discovered, inventions that we need. Is because if we take our seeds and we bury them, we get buried with them. So what do we need to do about that? Well, how many of you know it just takes a spark? And, you know, sometimes we walk around, we're like, I want to be motivated. I want to be inspired. Well, the greatest part is that inspiration just means, at the root of the word, to breathe life back into. To breathe life back into. Because for a lot of you guys, we forgot it's still there. It's still there. And if we're not in the ground and we're still here and just breathing this air, it's still there. What do we do? What do we do with it? How do we get that spark back? Well, the coolest part is the same thing that might be holding your seeds of greatness back is the same thing that could spark them out and share them with the world. And it is a formula. So the formula is this. So before I explain what the formula is, if it's okay with you guys, I want to take a few seconds, a couple slides, and just let you know, who am I? Who is Misty Kerrigan? Well, I was very, very lucky. At birth, I was adopted by my grandparents. And my grandfather thought I hung the moon. He had 6 other kids before me. I don't know if anyone else is in here the favorite of the family, but I got to grow up being the favorite. And unless you're the favorite, it's hard probably to grasp how amazing it feels to be the favorite. But he told me I could do anything, and I believed him. So in 4th grade, I went pre-med. I wanted to be a doctor. I knew it from 4th grade on. I knew I wanted to be a doctor, a medical doctor, and I wanted to be a pediatrician up until my freshman year of college. And then I realized in a split second after the first course where there was a cadaver and smells is that I was never going to be a medical doctor. And as fast as I could, I ran across campus right into the psychology building, never looking back. So anyone here in the medical profession, thank you. Thank you for staying. Thank you for staying after that first class. So I graduated with a psychology degree from University of Arizona, and I moved straight to California with some friends because I was going to live by the ocean and have an amazing life. Well, unfortunately, about 2 years after I graduated college and I was not living by the ocean, I was 25 years old and sleeping on a bunk bed with a fellow roommate in a 2-bedroom house with 4 of us. I was so poor that I wasn't living check to check. I was living 3 checks behind. I would go to those check cashing places and borrow money and borrow money. Michael knows. Michael, thank you. I see your face is making me excited. I lived 3 checks behind, and I started to eat a lot of more ramen like I was in college, and I started to let self-doubt build in, and I started to think my grandpa was full of crap. That life wasn't what you make it, and you couldn't do the things because thought I was working pretty hard. I had 3 jobs. I was working 3 jobs. It wasn't that I was scared to work. I was working 3 jobs and still not making the money I needed to make. Well, I did what anyone does when they can't sleep. I was watching infomercials, and this infomercial came on in the middle of the night, and this man came on, and he was exciting, and he was telling me about life and dreams and how we could still have anything we wanted. The only problem was he cost $300, and I didn't have that. But my grandpa was still alive back then. I was blessed that he stayed with me until I was 30. But at age 25, he got my early Christmas present in September, and I changed my entire life from these. I don't know if there's any younger generations in here, but these are CDs. They don't have those anymore. We can even play them in your car. I still have them, but it changed my life. And I went back to where I work. I've been at Oak Grove Center for 23 years, and I started being more excited. I started working better with the kids. I started working better with the staff. They started promoting me in leadership. I started writing books and creating these amazing programs that 10 years in a row, we're the highest independent living skills program for foster youth, 16 to 21 in the state of California. We are the one of the most successful wraparound programs. I started directing. I got a job for UC Davis. I consult with UC Davis and I train every state in the state of California. I write programs and curriculum and I get to go in and I get to train individuals. My life took off after that CD set and life just started to get better. And all these things I thought, get greater clarity and focus and a deeper understanding of behaviors and psychology and needs. Would they work in the business world? Because they sure worked in the mental health world. And I accidentally taught a dog walker how to make 6 figures. She went to a 6-figure sustainable with just the stuff that I learned doing the stuff that I loved. And all of a sudden I realized I want to speak and I want to work with more business owners and I want to teach this to the world. And then 5 years later, I have my own podcast with Miss Kimberly Smith. We wrote a book. I'm on stages with Sharon Lecter, Victor Marcanson, Mr. Les Brown himself. Mary Glorfield was Tony Robbins' VP for 18 years. She's in my cell phone. I still haven't met Tony yet, but that's still here coming. But the thing is that my life went from ramen to amazement. And I was thinking, how? How do you go from 3 paychecks behind to bank accounts, plural? And I realized it was this. Passion plus purpose times your beliefs, that where you spend your time and who you associate with becomes your life. Your life is made up of this. And hit me, the things we believe to be true, we create ourselves. The things we believe to be true, we create ourselves. Cindy and Elena, you guys just talked about it very, very beautifully. And I want to say, I thought about that at age 25. And I said, if this is true, if I believe anything and that becomes true, then this is the only thing I'm going to believe. I'm going to read this twice a day. I bought a ring and it's engraved in the ring. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, the plans to prosper and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. God wants me to prosper. For I know the plans I have for you. When life gets rough, I pull this out again. When life's amazing, I pull this out again. But this became my core belief in my life. And as that started to take effect, I understood the 3 steps. So I want to give you guys the 3 steps tonight so that if some of you already have these steps, and if you don't, here's the time to grab a pen and really get it. Understanding your purpose. Define what your purpose means and why it's essential. What is your purpose? Where do you feel most alive? I believe God gave each of us divine gifts, but those divine gifts aren't for us. Those divine gifts are for the world. And when you have those divine gifts and you're sharing them with the world, in God's divine plan, you're unstoppable. I think I accidentally did it. I didn't know I was doing that, but when it started to hit, like the rainstorm became the hurricane because my life was taking off so fast, I think it's because I started to share my divine gifts. And when I started to share my divine gifts, I've never been more passionate. I remember watching Kimberly give a speech at a conference and she was dancing around on the stage and she made us do push-ups. And I said, woof, that lady's passionate and I want to be around more passionate people. I have enough people in my life who are not passionate. I want to get around more passionate people because when you're passionate about life is amazing. It does feel like work every once in a while, but when you're on stages, when you're sitting in these seats for 3 hours, or when you get to learn about where to set your knife or when someone doesn't steal your bread, that stuff's exciting. Now there's people out there who won't believe us, but that's okay. Because we know we were here tonight. We know because we're passionate about speaking. We're passionate about others speaking. We're passionate about helping them become better. When you're living in that, it just automatically starts to hit the next thing, which is your patience. You have to be patient. It's not your time, it's God's time. And it's just about being consistent. It's about coming to these things, being in Toastmasters, saying yes when someone wants you to speak, coming virtual, speaking in person, staying consistent and focusing on the things you can control. And I want to tell you something. If you have your purpose and your passion aligned, you plus God are the majority. You and God, that's a majority. Everyone else in your life doesn't matter. You're the majority. So when you have your purpose and your passion and you feel it and you know it, it's those baby steps. Sometimes you might get knocked down, but I guarantee you with passion, you get back up. And I loved how someone said, I wake up at 8 a.m. and wonder how many miles Kimberly's already ran. Well, that's passion and it's consistency because sometimes I know she doesn't want to get up and run, but I know passionately and consistently, it's our purpose to continue to run. And when you align your passion and your purpose and you're really patient with it, the best thing happens. We let our light shine, and we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same when we do it. But you know what they don't tell you? I'm going to leave you with something I had to learn the hard way. And I wish they would have told me this like in junior high. When I go and I do talks in front of kids, I tell them, because I wish someone would have told me, here's the thing. When your light's shining bright and you get around others' lights who are shining bright, you become blinding. The light is blinding when you get around other people whose light shine just as bright. Over these last few years, my life has been nothing but phenomenal. I get to travel, I get to train, and you can't, if you came to 20, when I was 25 and you said, Misty, you're going to be on yachts and jets and people are going to pay you money to speak. Every report card I had said I talk too much. Every report card said I talk too much. And now I'm in my 40s and people call me and they want to pay me to come talk. It's because I aligned my purpose with my passion. I dedicated my time and I got around other people whose lights were blinding so that mine would do the same. I just want to say thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight. And I am so excited because I know most of you in here and I know your lights shine bright. So I would like to return the power back over to Ms. Kimberly Smith Austin. I guess I have to stop sharing.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much, Misty. Unveiling your brilliance and really recognizing who you are and what you have in store. What an amazing piece that was brought together. Now, I'm actually sitting in a seat now, and I have the last seat here today. And I'll tell you, as much as I'd like to share my presentation and all the stuff that I designed just for you, I want you to take a moment to really think about what it takes to shine. You've heard it from Elena, from Cindy, and Misty. It takes courage. Today, as I sat at my desk preparing and really thinking about our time together tonight, one of the things that I wrote down, 2 words, belief and courage. Belief and courage. We know everything starts with belief. If you believe you can, you're right. If you believe you can't, you're right. That quote was created and there's power behind it. But what I recognize is that 2 things happen. And I always say to clients, you will or will you? And it's kind of interesting because we get to choose, as Elena said. But I want you to think about this question for a moment. Can you or will you? There's a difference there. We all have the ability to do things. The question is, do we have the courage to step into it and make it happen? Now, I do have a few slides, and I won't spend a lot of time here. I want to bring one that really resonates and speaks to me. Now, you all may know Marianne Williamson's famous poem. I can't think because, I was fragile. Just a heads up, I was at a CIF game and it's over. But one of the things that she said is our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, handsome, talented, and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? That's the question. Playing small doesn't serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are not meant to shine as children do. We were born to manifest the glory within us. It is not just in some, it is in everyone. And we collectively, we let our own light shine. We will consciously give others permission to do the same. Think about that. And Misty said it, Cindy said it, Elena said it. Now, they may have said it in different forms by way of their story and their thinking, but this is powerful. The Empower Women in Wellness conference that we just had on Saturday, so many women took this messaging and they walked away feeling empowered and ready to take control of their lives. Now, yes, our target was women, but gentlemen, this is for you too. I know this is real for you. And so when I think about this, it made me think about a question that was asked in Hamlet. He said, to be or not to be, that is the question. To shine or not to shine, to have courage or not to have courage. We get to decide every single day. At the conference, I shared a story about my life personally. Grew up on the south side of Chicago in a home that was drugs and alcohol. And for some odd reason, there was something inside of me that said that was not the pathway in which I wanted to travel. I took time reading books. I really didn't have anyone to influence me, but I had two books. One was the Bible, and one was this little book that gave me little inspiration points. And I'd read them every other day just because I thought, man, there has to be something good there. See, I'm a bibliophile. I've been reading books forever. I owned a bookstore, and anything I can get out of a book has actually helped me grow. It's been my guidepost. But what I saw in that book was that I could, if I believed, and I took one step, even if it was a baby step, that I could do it. And so I did. I pursued my education, went and got a college degree, and then went to work in corporate America. 5 years later, decided to go back and get my master's degree. After getting my master's degree, I was offered a job that doubled my salary. Wow. And I was still in my 20s. I made over $100,000, which was my big dream. But I did that before I was 30. And my mind said, what else can I do? Now, in the process of recognizing that, wow, I was not subject to my circumstances, but I was subject to my choices. These were the pathways that would determine who I would become. I, at 24 years old, decided to buy my first house. And my brother, who also grew up in the same home, he was 12 years my junior, I asked my parents, could he come live with me? They initially said no. It didn't make sense for a 24-year-old young woman buying her first house in the midst of her career to bring her baby brother to live with him. He was 11 years old. He had a learning disability. And they eventually said yes. And the reason I did it because I knew there was possibilities there. He came, he went through elementary, high school, and then even started college. Fast forward later, something similar happened again. My cousin, who is now 32 years old, at the age of 15, her mother, also subject to drugs and alcohol, had pretty much let her be. And my mother and my grandmother took her in. But then at 15, my grandmother died. And she was our caregiver. She was the responsible person in our family, if you will. But when she passed away, my cousin didn't see any hope. And she called one day and she asked me, can I live with you? At the time, my son was 8 months old. I was fairly new in California and really hadn't made my way here. I talked to my husband at the time. We prayed and we said yes. Now, her mother was my abuser. Her mother would pick fights with me and steal my money and do harmful things to me when I was a kid. And most people at this season in their life probably would have said, no way, Jose, I am not taking on her seed. But there was something that said, give her a chance. Just like you have been able to move out of this situation, give her a chance. I'm happy to report that she's now 32, obviously, and that when she came with a grade point average of 0.67, very low self-esteem, no belief in herself, she came into our home. We embraced her, we loved her, and gave her belief. She finished high school with 2.67. She then went on to college and got a bachelor's degree from California Baptist University, then went on to get a master's degree in leadership. And today, she's in her practicum to become a family a licensed family marriage therapist. She wants to give back. When you talk about shining, again, this light isn't for us. If we take it, we should shine that light out. We should shine the light out, just like this lighthouse. Notice, it's there for a purpose, to attract, but also to reflect. It's that beacon of light that each and every one of us should desire to become. Now, I know it's not easy because life be life and Misty. That's the expression right now. Life is lifing. It's hard. It's not easy. But with a little bit of belief and courage, the courage to shine, to say, I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. Surround yourself with people that support you. And I believe in life, there's two sides. There's circles and there's squares. You know, basic geometry, circles and squares. Circles are the people who support you and come around you, embrace you, encourage, inspire you to be the best version of yourself. And then there's squares. Those are people who put you in the box. And truth be told, some of those folks may be your closest friends, your closest family members who may not believe, who may not see what you see. But I'm here to tell you, don't give up hope. Believe and take the steps. The choice to shine, I've learned personally for myself, it's a decision. It's a decision. I want you to take a moment and think about the decisions you've made in your life. Well, as Elena said, chocolate or vanilla? Will I drink coffee or tea this morning? Will I eat an omelet or a cereal? We get these choices every day. And our life path, like everything else, is a choice. It's a decision that we make. And it's one that we decide if we want to illuminate the world. And here's how you do it. Authenticity. Authenticity. When you show up as 100% you, I've learned that other person that I pretended to be and hoped to be and dreamed to be was not real. And it didn't have the impact as this person that I am today. Yeah, I may not be for everyone. I recognize that. But what I recognize is that I love the person that I've become. And I challenge you to think about that. Love the person that you have become. Laugh at yourself every day. Love on yourself every day, because your authenticity will allow you to go places you never dreamed possible. Resilience, compassion for others allows you to cast the light, your light, that not only guides you on your journey, but guess what? It brightens the path for others. My brother's now 41 years old, successful, living his life, travels, goes all kinds of places. Even with his learning disability, he's still successful. My cousin, 32-year-old, married, 2 children, and living her life, living her dream. She second-guessed herself many, many, many times. But having that circle around her to say, you can do it, belief, and stepping out changes lives and can change your life. So my question to you, my friends, to be or not to be? You get to decide. Will you shine your light and allow your story to transform your world and the world of those around you? Now, to conclude, I'd like to tell you that the Courage to Shine was designed just for the Empowered Women in Wellness Conference, but we're super excited because people are asking us to share the story. And coincidentally, I talked to Tom and he said, well, do you have some people you want to bring? Absolutely. And here we are today. But not only are we sharing these stories And there's many others, because Empowered Women in Wellness is about the whole woman, physical, mental, spiritual, financial, social. So at our conference, we talked about all these things. We had financial gurus, we had mental health professionals, and we had folks just like us. But we are going to be releasing a book next week. It's called The Courage to Shine. And all of the speakers that you've seen tonight are sharing their stories, strategies to help you shine your light. We invite you to stay plugged in and connected with us, because we believe that all of you have a light. The question is, will you shine it? I want you to join with me. Grab your cell phones right now, turn on that light, and let's get it shining. Let's shine that light right now. I see Aaron on camera. Let's see the folks over at Loma Linda. Grab your phones, turn on your light. That's right. Cindy, I see you. That's right. This is a choice. Some of you could have said, no, Kimberly, no, thank you. I don't want to turn on my light. My life is not in a place where my light matters, but it does. And if it doesn't feel like it today, your decision, your choice to do it will change the scope. Thank you for all of you over in Loma Linda. I see your light shining. With that, back to you, Mr. Toastmaster.